Alright, so this is what I'm going to be using to attach this thing to the floor. And it's made by Redhead. And it's called a drop-in anchor. Right? So this either is for drilling into concrete and dropping it into ceiling or floor. 3/8 is the size I'm using. I'm going to need a 1/2 inch masonry drill bit, which I've got here. I'll get the drill out in a second. So this is what it looks like. And not dissimilar to something you'd put in drywall, really, if you think about it. The basic idea is the same. Huh, little light flicker in there. Hopefully that didn't show up on camera. Anyway, you drill your hole out to the correct depth. In this case, looks like about 1.5 inches. I'll have to take the exact measurement there. 1 5/8. And then you have to get this tool. If you don't, now I've seen some people complain that this thing doesn't work because they'll try to screw the screw directly into there, or the bolt into there, and as you can see, yeah, it'll go in. But it's dissimilar from a drywall screw in the sense that the screw itself is not going to expand this out. In fact, if you look down in here, there's a little metal plate down in there, and that's what this is for. So once you drilled your hole and blown out the hole and you put this thing in there, you have to use that tool, which costs an extra $1 or $2. There's the setting tool. So these are like less than $1 a piece, and this was like $2, I think it was. So you take that to set it, and then you hammer that down into the hole, and that pushes that peg down all the way to the bottom there and spreads these out. So that's going to take care of that, and that's what anchors it, keeps it solid in place. So that is what I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead and mark my holes. I'll move the unit out of the way. We'll drill it, and we'll take one last look at it, and then in the next video we'll be taking a look at how it works. I'll be taking 2 tires, taking them off the old Honda, dismounting, mounting 2 new ones, and balancing them with the static balancer. So stay tuned for a video on that unit as well. That's a bubble balancer, or portable bubble balancer. So, alright, let's go. Alright, so it's probably very difficult for you to see with all the other stuff on the ground here, but there's a hole, there's a hole, there's a hole, and there's a hole. At least those are holes to be. You can see I've taken my masonry bit and I've taped it off at 1 5/8. I'm going to go ahead and drill these out, and we'll see how this works. Okay, now that's part of the process, but I've got to clean that out, so I'm going to vacuum that. If you're interested in what I've got in my hands right here, I can make another video on that, but this is a vacuum operated vacuum, or air pressure operated vacuum. Alright, I'll wait for the compressor to stop and we'll give this thing a good beating. So we're going to push that thing down the hole. First I got to make sure I got the threads facing the right way. Put it down in the hole. I'll get a good sized hammer here. Although I don't think I need to use this one. It might be a bit of overkill. There we go. Perfect. Alright, I'll go ahead and do the rest of them. We'll get this thing bolted down. I'm still not sure how well this shows up on camera, but they're in. There's one right there. The other ones I've got screws in. Did have a problem. These three here went pretty well. This one here was the last hole I drilled. And as you can see, it's recessed a lot farther down. The tape that I had used for my measurement got used up a little bit, and I went too far. But I don't think it'll be a problem. It's still seated, it's just farther down the hole. So we'll go ahead and lay this thing over it. Try to center it up. Now they have some washers for the final assembly. I'm just kind of curious if I got everything lined up properly. You're not going to get a second chance on this one. Okay, yeah, that one's in there. Yeah, I think they're all going to be fine. So let me get some washers. I'll go ahead and get it installed all the way. All right, well, that was an interesting video. I've never had one of these. I've certainly seen them in use. A lot of farms have these, so I figured it was something I wanted to get. You can do lawnmower tires, car tires, truck tires. I think it up to about 16.5-inch rims. Oh, luckily, I don't know anything bigger than no, I think I do have a 16, but most of mine are 14s and 15s. Time will tell whether it was a worthy investment. It only cost $31.99 with a 20% off coupon, so not a very expensive ordeal. Add in a couple nuts, bolts, washers, you're still looking at less than $40 for the whole deal. That's pretty good. So normally a set of rims mounted and balanced, new tires, if you bring in your tires, $15 a tire is going right around here. So you're looking at $60 to do one set. I'll be in this with all the hardware and washers and everything for, like I said, right around 40 probably with tax and everything. Got a balance, manual bubble balancer coming. That cost me another $45. Got that off of eBay. It is a Harbor Freight unit, just was resold through an eBay seller for some reason. Regular price on those is almost $80. I don't think they're really worth that, but I have used them. In fact, a lot of old-time shops, that's what they had, you know, before they went to the dynamic and static balancing machines, the electric balancing machines. That's the way we did it. So I'm going to go through and do both of those, and maybe I'll take the tires down to the shop afterwards and put the tires on a dynamic balancer and see how they spin up and see how close we got it. So for tonight, that's it. I am Eric, the owner of Farpoint Farms, and I hope you enjoyed this video. I know it was kind of different, but for those of you thinking about getting the Harbor Freight tool, stay tuned for part 2, and we'll take a look at what it actually does tire-wise, and I'll give you my honest, unbiased opinion, because as a mechanic with 30 years of experience, well, I can pretty well tell you if something like this is worthwhile. Till then, take care.
There's always something that needs a little fixing on Farpoint Farms. Freedom is mighty sweet.